Welcome to Town Talk, the official podcast of Summerville, South Carolina, where we bring you the latest news and incredible guests here in Summerville. And today, I'm super excited to bring back Amy Evans, our Director of Parks and Recreation. We last year around this time, we went ahead and did an episode recapping 2023, and we saw a lot of positive feedback from that episode. So it was just natural to just do this again. So Amy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It feels like it was last week. I can't believe it. The whole year has gone by.
It's crazy, right? How fast this whole year moved, but Parks and Rec had a huge year. And so I do want to take a moment to just sit down and discuss 2024 and how the year progressed for us, because you guys achieved a lot. And to start, I think there's some big projects that happened in 2024. One of them being the ribbon cutting for the Wassamasaw playground. Can you just dig into that playground, the ribbon cutting, and the work that went into that whole just the rebuild? And because I don't know if you saw it yet, but it's an incredible playground. And so if you just want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. The first couple months of the year, January, February, we were really just focused on prepping for projects. So a couple large projects that we had, and one of those was Wassamasaw. So we had to go in there. We tore out all the old equipment, took out the fencing, repaired the border. There was a lot of drainage issues with the previous playground. So we had to go in there and address a lot of those because we wanted it to be right. And so we spent a lot of time. We're able to cut that ribbon in March. So right in time for spring break. It is a really cool playground. It's got a lot of pieces for older kids. So if you've got kids that are kind of border age, maybe outgrowing some of our other playgrounds, definitely check out Wassamasaw. It's got our tallest piece of equipment as well.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece of equipment. I think there's a lot for, I guess, any type of age to go enjoy. I know even our at the ribbon cutting, some of our council members and staff are just playing on the playground as well. So it was just really fun. What goes into that whole process, right? Like if you have an idea or the need for a new playground at one of our parks, what goes into that whole process? What is that like?
It's a long process. I mean, kind of planning, putting out an RFQ, get quotes, bids, and then evaluating those, making sure that you've got the funding to match what you really want to do there. And then a lot of times we do a lot of the preparation ourselves, and that's simply just to save money, to allow our dollars to stretch, because we want to spend that on the equipment as much as possible. So it's a big project from start to finish, but we were excited. This is our third playground in 3 years that we were able to get done.
It's awesome. And so if you haven't checked it out yet, please go over and check it out. It's an awesome piece of equipment and playground, and I think it really enhances our town. Speaking of kind of the bigger projects, the one I would say almost tops all of the year is the splash pad. I think it saw a lot of action during the summer when it released or opened. But can we talk about the splash pad? One, again, the process of getting the splash pad into town, but two, why having that in our town is just so awesome for our Parks and Rec and for our community.
Yes. So the splash pad was actually kind of in the works for the last several years. It was a dream of mine early on coming to Summerville. I felt like we really needed it here for our kids. It is just so hot here in the summer, and there's not a lot for them to do outside that's cool in the summer. And so this is a great way to encourage kids to come outside, even in the heat, rather than go inside, maybe play video games or watch TV, but get them back outside and engaged and play. And so I think from that standpoint, it was really important because Summerville doesn't have a lot of cool areas for the summer, but it's free, so it's very accessible.
That's always awesome.
Yes, free. Yeah, free is good. So, anybody that can get there can take advantage of it. Another great thing about it is it's inclusive. It's accessible. It was designed that way. There's the little water table that's featured there is ADA compliant for anybody in a wheelchair. And also just because of the generosity of one family in Somerville, the Jackson family, they did donate a water wheelchair. So we have that amenity also there for the public to take advantage of.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it has been such a great project. And I agree. It's my favorite project of the year as well, just because from the moment it opened, it has been a vibrant hub in our community. Go out there, you see the kids just running, playing, laughing. Everybody's having a good time. It's been a really great addition.
Yeah, I agree. And, driving past Doty and seeing the splash pad, it really catches your eye almost immediately right there on the corner. It looks awesome. I think it was 4 of those rings, 5 of those rings. That's kind of the big catching eyepiece of it, and it's super cool. I remember the ribbon cutting, and when we turned it on, how just excited the community was, the feedback we've gotten from it, and having a, I guess, quote unquote, splash pad / water park in our town when it gets extremely hot in the summer, it is very important. I mean, we are not only providing fun, I guess, activities for our children and our families, but we're also providing activities that are relatively safe for the summer months, right? It's sometimes just too hot to go outside. And so being able to go to a splash pad and still be able to go to the park and not have to, I guess, be just so drained and the fear of heat exhaustion, right? Because it's just so hot. So obviously it's your favorite project because you've been working on it for so long. What's next when it comes to the splash pad or anything along that area as well?
Yeah, we are very grateful. Working with the Somerville Parks Foundation, we were able to get a sponsorship through First Citizens. So the splash pad is officially the First Citizen splash pad. But that sponsorship money, that's going to be used to purchase shade structures. So those have already been ordered. We're hoping to get those installed the first quarter of next year. Awesome. So that next summer, yes, the parents who are sitting there watching their kids will have a little bit of shade and enjoy that time a little bit more.
That's awesome. And I think it's having the shade structure as well, I think is going to be awesome. I mean, you're reaching every single type of individual that could want to come to the splash pad, whether it's the parents who just need some shade while their kids play or vice versa, so that's awesome. I'm really excited about it. I know my daughter loved it. I took my daughter out there and she was having the time of her life. I couldn't get her away. When I pulled her away to go home, man, she was upset. So I had to keep bringing her back out there. But
yeah, and the way that the features aren't all the time, right? It saves water, but it also provides a lot of movement for the kids. Mm-hmm. So they're constantly chasing things, and it makes it very engaging and fun. So we were really pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah, and so speaking of the splash pad, when it comes to the different aspects of it, the different pieces that are incorporated, what kind of thought goes into that? Because obviously you want it to be inclusive. You want it to be able to help any individual have fun when they come to the splash pad. I think that's something that is extremely important. But what goes into that and that mindset and that thought process and those certain pieces that you picked?
Yeah, it's really just trying to have very diverse pieces, right? So that you, regardless of the child's age, ability, that there will be something there that they'll really enjoy, like from very small fountains, in the ground that the littlest, child can really enjoy and play with and doesn't feel overwhelmed with, to one of the other favorite features, I think, are like, we call them the lollipop, because there really is not a better. Yeah. But the little buckets that drop, so the older kids really like those. Yeah. And the rings, as you spoke of, running through. So
rings, definitely. That's what's called, the rings.
Some people like to call it the car wash.
The car wash, that's good. Yeah. I might steal that now.
Yes, but really just trying to get a very diverse, group of activities out there, and pull it all together to make it one really cool experience.
I love it. I remember when we had the groundbreaking and just the start of it and seeing it come to where it's at today. Kudos to you and your team for bringing that to our community. I think it's a huge addition to our town.
Thank you.
We're not done. I mean, we have a lot that happened in 2024. One of them one of the big things that also happened was the Sweet Tea Half Marathon. This marathon has been growing every single year, but this year we hit a new record of runners and walkers. Can you just talk a little bit into that event and why it is just so important and the growth of it as well?
Absolutely. The Sweet Tea Half Marathon, so the town of Summerville has been organizing and managing that event for the past 2 races. So while it's a long-standing event, it's still relatively new to us. This year we added the 5K. We wanted to add that so that more people in our community could come. We do get a lot of runners. It's a great event for the town. I think we had 26 or more states that come typically, or at least came this year.
Wow.
We have people from several countries that come, but we wanted to make sure to open it up so that people in our community could really. Yes, yeah.
Wow.
It's a great event.
To y'all.
Yeah, and everybody, I mean, they come because they love Summerville. They want to run through the historic downtown area. But this year, I think we had almost 800 runners.
Yeah, I think you're right. The number is 766 runners total. Yeah. That's a lot especially for a little Summerville, right? Now, what goes into that? Because I know your staff leads that obviously under you, but there's a lot of work that goes into that when it comes to sponsorships and when it comes to getting all the stuff in place and working with the police department. Mm-hmm. How difficult is that?
It's a big event. We work on it year round. I mean, we've already started working for next year's event. So it truly is a year-round planning process. We do work so closely with our public safety, both police and fire. We could not do this event, many of our events, without their help and their partnership. So we're very grateful. We've got a great relationship with them. But they do a great job of making sure all the runners stay safe. Because it takes... Because we are such a small department, it takes all of us to be able to pull that event off.
Absolutely. And again, I'm probably going to say it a couple more times in this interview, but kudos to you and your team. So this one of I would say the best Parks and Rec department in the state, if not the country.
Thanks.
Now, we definitely have more events to touch base on, but there is another project that I do want to discuss, and that is the Azalea Park the Children's Discovery Garden. I know the ribbon cutting was last week. So it is December 9th today, on the time of recording. So it was last week. And it was kind of cold out. But it was an incredible, I mean, just seeing the turtle and everything, and the leadership Dorchester class being able to leads that kind of discuss that whole process, because I don't know, it's kind of hidden in a sense in Azalea Park. So if you could just talk a little bit about where it's located, and then what is incorporated within that park and what's coming, because not everything is there yet.
Absolutely. It's a project that I also very am excited about. I love all of our parks, but the Children's Discovery Garden kind of actually came from a visit at the Dallas Arboretum. So I was walking through that with my kids and fell in love with it. It's a really great park, if you ever have a chance to visit there. But I really wanted to bring some of those same elements back to Summerville, and I was thinking, where could we put it? Where could we, do something similar to this? And when the Leadership Dorchester class opened up their applications for a project, I thought, this might be a great opportunity. So the Summerville Parks Foundation did submit an application to Leadership Dorchester. I think they had 30 applications or projects to choose from. We were very fortunate that they chose this one. And we collaborated within the Parks Foundation and the Parks and Recreation Department and Leadership Dorchester, kind of came together and looked at the different pieces. At the same time, I had already been putting a few fillers out to some donors trying to find other support for this project. And we were fortunate that a family did want to invest in this project as well, and that was the family of Carlotta Pierce. So they gave us a large donation up front, and that kind of helped us be able to get some of the pieces ordered while Leadership Dorchester was fundraising for the remaining pieces. And it was perfect timing. I literally, the family told me yes, and 2 days later I got the news from Leadership Dorchester that they had selected the project as well. So all the stars aligned, and we really getting everybody on board. We're able to do a lot more than we could have if it had just been one party or not, or by themselves. So we're excited.
And it's another inclusive piece. The Azalea Park is one of our most beautiful parks in town. It's huge. It's beautiful, especially during when the azaleas are blooming. It's an incredible park. But being able to add a piece that the kids can go play and be able to an inclusive piece as well. And we do have, I guess, is it music, little music instruments?
So we are getting music pieces. They'll be installed hopefully in January.
Okay.
They're actually coming overseas, so there was a delay in getting those pieces. There's a butterfly garden. There's, artistic and both educational butterflies installed in that garden. There's a photo op. There's when I say life size, it's huge. It's yours and my size, 6 foot turtle.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And it's really cool. There's mushroom stepping stones. There's a log. Leadership Dorchester built a kind of like a stage, a children's stage amphitheater area. And again, this is just phase one. So we were very fortunate. The Leadership Dorchester class donated $10,000 back to the Somerville Parks Foundation at the end. And that's going to kind of be seed money for phase two. So we're looking already to for some pieces and different things that might be a good addition. But you did ask me earlier where it's located. It's kind of tucked away. It is hidden. If you're not very familiar with it, it's over. You have to cross the canal. It's on the same side as the tennis courts, but you cross the canal. So it's kind of over there near Bethany. But it's tucked in those woods in the back, and our hope and our goal is to bring it all the way from the back to the front of where this sidewalk is. So we've got lots of room to grow and expand. So lots of opportunities for the community. Anyone who wants to get involved, maybe sponsor future pieces, definitely opportunities there.
Absolutely. And just for the community's sake, I will, both on the town's website and the Parks and Rec website, we will add the location, pin location of the park, of the Discovery Garden. So that way you guys can be able to find it just a little bit easier. It's not too hard, but it's just not right in the middle of Azalea Park, Any sneak peek, or can we get a first hint of what phase 2 is going to look like on the pod?
I have a lot of ideas, but some of them I have to still do some more research on to see. I don't want to.
I tried.
I don't want to promise and then them not be delivered.
I tried to get the first scoop here on the pod, but that's okay. I'm really excited to see the continued growth of it. The turtle is huge. It's awesome. I took my daughter there. I always am including my daughter, but she loves all that you guys do. I took her there yesterday after the parade, and she was just having a ball.
I can tell you that any of the pieces that we install will be very unique and not anywhere else in Somerville. How about that?
Ooh, all right. There we go. We got something. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. No, so speaking of, there's so much, and we have a list here. And for the sake of the time, I won't go through the whole list, but I want to take a step back into the year, at the beginning of the year, and look at some of the things that happened and just kind of pick your brain on them and I guess the importance of it. One of the things that happened in February was y'all installed a new weather monitoring system at Gahagan that basically allows for real-time information to be posted on our website and other type of stuff. Why is that? Is that for like the sports, right? Like knowing like, hey, I have a game on Saturday. What's the weather look like? Or you wake up in the morning like, all right, what's the weather out there today? Am I going to be able to go play, pickleball? Kind of what was that entail?
Yeah, there were a lot of reasons why we needed to do this over at Gahagan. I mean, certainly for the leagues that are playing tournaments, Gahagan is a very busy facility. We hosted 15 weekend tournaments with USSSA this year. So even when we're not running our leagues, there's activities. There's volleyball tournaments, there's cricket tournaments, there's stuff. Yeah, there's always people there. And so we wanted a way to make sure that all of those people are staying safe. Whether you're busy in the playground, you're there for a tournament. And the great thing about this weather system, as you mentioned, we've installed widgets on our website. So anybody that's coming to the park, at the park, they can pull it up. They can see real time when there's a lightning strike within within that distance of the park, it starts a countdown calendar or clock on the website. So
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so cool.
when it's safe for you to come back. And the other great thing is we also did it preemptively for the splash pad, because we knew with the splash pad whether, we've got to be able to monitor that, and it has to be accurate.
Yep.
So that same system helps us monitor Jody Park.
Yeah.
And so that's the system that we use to be able to know when to turn the splash pad on, off.
Even if though it's located at Gahagan, it still helps you with because it's close enough of a radius,
That's
right?
That's correct. Yep. And with the satellites, they're able to monitor it.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I remember at the beginning of the year when that went down, kind of helping you with the website. But that was really something I was excited about to be able to push out to the community, and so it's really good, especially for the splash pad too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
One of the things that y'all have basically for a lot of the year is the Sounds on the Square concert series. This is a really popular series. Every time that there's a concert hosted, Hutchinson's packed up, and so talk a little bit about that, right? Obviously, it's a successful series that Parks and Rec puts on, but how did that start? I think for some people, they might know about it, but when did it start? How did it start? And what's the importance of that?
Yeah. The Sounds on the Square concert series, those actually started before I came to Summerville. So definitely longer than 5 years ago. I know that they had bounced around. They had tried them at a couple different facilities and landed at Hutchinson. And they're just such great additions to the community. They're free. We love doing free.
We love free.
Yeah. It's always good. But, every concert features a different style of music to make sure that there's something there for everyone. But they're just a great time to come out, get to hang out with different people in the community. And there's just such a sense of community and people getting along, and they're dancing and they're just having a great time. So those, we certainly love those. One of the other events that we always love is our inclusive dances. We do one in Valentine's Day and one at Halloween.
Yep.
And those are such special nights as well. I could not say enough, anybody is welcome to come out to those events, but those are just really special nights in our community.
They seem like such a ball. It is such a fun night, and seeing the pictures and the videos from those nights, it's amazing. And especially the dances, I love those. Yeah. And perfect time of the year for them too. Valentine's and Halloween, there's you get the Valentine's, you bring your Valentine, bring your date, and then Halloween you get to dress up and in a costume. That's so cool. So such unique timing for those as well. Speaking of events, we just got done with the tree lighting. That is one of the big events that you guys put on every year. I was out there. Probably most of our listeners and watchers were probably out there. It was packed. It was packed, but it was beautiful. It's such a fun event. It brings the community together. We did some different things this year, right? We had Santa in a different location. And so obviously, you could see at Parks and Rec is listening to feedback and how we can better enhance some of these events that we put on. For example, I know you and I had a discussion, I think it was last week, about the Santa location, and knowing that last year it was packed up in the middle of Hutchinson where Santa was located, and so it was hard to kind of get around Hutchinson because of that. So moving the location was a thoughtful way of being able to do the line. So first of all, let's talk about the event as a whole, what your thoughts were about the 2024 event, and then secondly, why it's so important to just listen to the feedback from the community and being able to enhance these events. Not just talking about the Christmas one, that was just an example, but all events that you guys put on.
Yeah. I'm so proud of my staff. I really should start there. They're the ones that make it happen. They're amazing.
They are.
They started back in September, and everybody's like, "It's only September." But if we don't start in September, because we're small, but they do a fabulous job, and they really care about the work that they do. So they were stringing lights in September to make everything happen. I know my son said, "Can I flip the switch?" And I was like, "Oh, son, there's 6 of my employees out there."
Yeah,
it takes a lot to make it all happen that first night. But they always do a fabulous job. But you're correct. With this year, we tried to stretch the kind of the layout a little bit to give us some relief because it is such a popular event. One of the things that we did this year is we added lights behind Town Hall. The main oak tree that's behind Town Hall has like drip lights on it.
It was beautiful. I like those ones. Yeah.
I see it every morning when I drive in. If you haven't had
It's
a chance, it is. Certainly drive by, take a look at it. It is beautiful. So we were excited to be able to extend the lights this way a little bit this year. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, even doing that though, the steel band did a fabulous job on the
Yeah, they
main
did.
stage. The orchestra did a great job pre-ceremony. I think the other really neat thing about this year's event. And traditionally, the mayor has always counted down. But our mayor this year, he wanted to let some of the Somerville youth count down. So we have children count down this year, which was really special.
It was special. It was so cool that
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor did that. And, it's a really unique moment for the town to come together. I hear from some of my colleagues and other folks that I'm connected with that are not in our area just wish that their town did something like this. And it's just really unique because these events, the one theme that you're always going to hear is it brings the community together, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, it's just, going to the event, I was out there in the crowd and everyone's just so friendly. Though it's packed, though it's, if you have kids, it's a little stressful. I know I was when I had my daughter, right? But everyone was still so friendly, so nice, and just so happy, and there's something about that, right? Did you see success with the moving of the Santa?
We did. There's certainly some things that we learned, but I think overall it went really well. So I expect to see Santa stay in that location for next year as well. Yeah.
Now, just a hypothetical, because I've always thought about this. I have not asked her this off camera, so this is going to be funny.
I'm nervous.
What would happen if you count down and the lights didn't go on?
Oh, I tell everyone that is the worst 10 seconds.
Is that such a fear?
It is. Those 10 seconds every year, I do not breathe. I just stand there and hope.
It would be like a really bad episode of The Office. It'd be one of the cringiest moments.
It would be really sad. I'd have to say we would uninvite the Grinch for the following year and blame it on him. I definitely most stressful 10 seconds of my life every year.
That's funny, but it goes to say though how much work your staff does to get everything set up and in place so that doesn't happen too, right?
Yeah.
And so knock on wood, it doesn't happen in the future. I don't expect it to with the staff that we have. But technology, as I know firsthand from just doing the podcast and everything, sometimes
does not work.
Sometimes does not work for us.
Chris, if I could real quick, because I didn't really cover the one thing you asked me about the feedback from the community. We we do get a lot of feedback throughout the year, whether it's programs, events, you name it.
Yeah.
And we certainly value that. One example I thought of when you were talking was the splash pad. So when school started back, we closed the splash pad. We went weekends only. And we heard loud and clear immediately that's not what people wanted, that there was enough of a demand.
Yeah.
So we were able to modify that schedule and had 2 mornings. One was for homeschool, and I think another one was just general public or toddlers. So, and that was a great kind of compromise with the community to be able to give them some weekday access to that amenity.
Yeah.
But also be a good steward of the resource.
And y'all really, and especially under your leadership, are huge on community feedback. And so if anyone's listening and watching and does have some feedback about anything Parks and Rec related, what is the best way for y'all to see that?
So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I think the best way is probably just to send us an email. And you can do that at parks@somervillesc.gov.
I will have that. It will pop up right here. And then you will also have that in the bio. So feel free to send them an email. We also do have a form online, citizen feedback form for that you can send in, and we can use that as well. So there's multiple avenues. But please, if you have feedback, positive as well. If you deal with an employee who is going above and beyond in their work, we want to hear that stuff too. And so feel free to send that our way. But you guys do an incredible job on feedback, and that's a great example. I'm so glad you brought that up. Speaking of 2024, we do have a couple. I guess we're coming to an end. Is there any other events that you want to discuss when it comes to December? I don't think the Breakfast with Santa happened yet.
No, that is next Saturday, the 14th.
The 14th. So that's another big event coming up. So the 14th, can you talk a little bit about that event?
Yes. So that is a perfect event. It's really, truly an inclusive event. If you've got a kid that does not like standing in lines, doesn't like big crowds, this is a perfect way to get your child to see Santa. So you can come in, you can grab a bite to eat. We have some vendors set up. They all have a craft or a holiday game for the kids to play. Same Santa that comes to the tree lighting, he's always there. He's fabulous.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
But last week as well, and remember, it's the 9th as of recording, we had the Arbor Day tree planting, and it was Arbor Day. That was really cool. I think it was the same day as the ribbon cutting for the Discovery Garden. And so that was really cool because we were out at, what park were we at again? Wassamasaw. And we were out there, and we had a tree planting, and we had Justin Carpenter, who is our arborist here in town, there as well. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that event is just so important? Because, again, we are a tree city, right? And so why is that so important?
So, yeah, South Carolina, everybody's like Arbor Day in December. South Carolina celebrates it the first Friday in December, which is different than, some other places or other states, I should say. But we planted an elm tree. We plant a tree somewhere every year. Wassamasaw was selected because we are hoping to be able to install a food forest at that site next year. We're waiting on a grant to see if we got some funding for that, but hopefully that'll happen, and then it'll be a nice tie to all of that. But we do, trees are important. There's so many value, to having trees in our community. We certainly, want to encourage other people to plant trees in their yard and their spaces. We had also a volunteer event that same afternoon at Wassamasaw where anyone in the community could come back, and they were planting loblolly pines.
How cool. So I love that.
Yeah, and also as part of the ribbon cutting for the Azalea Park Children's Garden, we had the youth there plant a camellia in the park. So there was a lot of planting that day, a lot of celebration trees, and the benefits that they do provide for us.
And they provide a lot.
They do.
And we love our trees here in town. Again, we were the first ever town to have a ordinance in place where you couldn't cut down a tree. I
feel like we could do a whole podcast just on trees. Yes,
maybe I gotta reach out to Justin. Maybe bring our arborist on. That's a good idea. Let me know in the comments if you want to listen to some of our tree history. I think it'd be actually a really good podcast. That's a good idea, Amy. So I do want to talk a little bit about 2025. We are days away at this point. I can't believe it. But the one thing that also started in 2024 was your volunteer program. This was huge. We do have some numbers that we are going to share as well in that document that I'll push out. But can you talk about that and why that is just so important for our town?
We've always had one-off volunteer opportunities or ways for the community to get involved, but we really wanted to establish a program. And so we were able to do that this year for the first time, where we had almost monthly volunteer events. We did a Sawmill Branch trail cleaning.
Yep.
We did tree plantings. We did a toy drive for MUSC. We partnered with Somerville Elementary School with that. We're able to donate over 1,000 toys. We were really excited this year. We felt like for the first year we had 125 volunteers come out to one of those events. So we felt that was amazing.
To one event, 125?
No, 125 throughout the year. Yes.
That's still a really good number,
Yes.
though, especially for the first year.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That says a lot about our community, though, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And their willingness to get involved and their love for the public spaces and wanting to invest in those and make them better for everybody. So we're really excited to see this grow in the future.
Yeah.
We'll see what 2025 we can plan and get everybody involved. And also, if people have ideas for park, maybe you live near a park and you want to see a project happen, let us know. We'd love to hear that. Maybe we can plan a community day around that.
There you go. Send them in.
Yes.
Send them in. Now, that's a perfect segue to 2025 because, like I said, we talked a lot. There's so much more. 2024 was a huge successful year. So was 2023. I mean, you guys are just killing it every year. What do we got going on in 2025?
So I mentioned it briefly, but right at the beginning of 2025, you'll see shade structures going in at the splash pad.
Yep.
So we're also going to install some shade structures at Gahagan because that's a huge need. If you've ever watched a T-ball game at Gahagan, it's hot.
It is hot.
So we're hoping to start installing some shade structures there. One of the other really cool things that we're starting on in the next couple of weeks is along the Solmo Branch Trail, some new workout stations.
How cool is that?
Yeah, we're replacing there's workout stations now. They're wood. They were installed originally by a Leadership Dorchester class. So we're going to be it's time to update those. So we're going to be starting to pull some of those out, install some new workout stations that are going to be really
How cool is
nice.
that? I love that.
We're excited.
I love that. What else? Anything else that you can share? Trust me, there's a lot that I know she's holding back. It's excitement, but
always scheming. But we're hoping to keep the playground momentum going.
Yeah.
We'd like to be 4 for 4. So next year we'd love to. We're focusing on the next playground. Kind of on the list is Doty Park. We think that'd be a great complementary addition with the splash pad. So looking at hopefully finding some funding for that. Haven't secured it yet, but we're working on that.
Hey, as long as that's the thing, you have your list and working down that list and continuing to enhance our facilities for our community is just it's awesome. Now I'm really excited to see what you guys are up to in 2025. I know from the different events, maybe new events, new classes, continued class.
Can I share one new event?
Yeah.
We're so excited. It's something we've talked about. So we are doing a dog event. I won't share any major details about it, but we've never done a pet event before.
It's going to be a dog event.
Yes.
Ooh.
And it's going to be awesome. There's going to be some water elements for the dogs.
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be hosted out at Gahagan Park, I think in June of next.
In June.
Yes.
Wow, this is great.
Breaking.
This is breaking. This is the first look. Well, I'm excited. I'll be there. That's really cool.
Yeah, we're really excited because we don't feel like we've ever really done a lot with dogs, and we know that's a huge market. So we're looking forward to it.
I already know that's going to be packed.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to come with their pups. I love it. I will be there just for the pups.
Right.
Well, Amy, I really appreciate that, and I am sharing a little bit about 2025. I know you guys are going to have a huge successful year in 2025, but I want to, me personally, and for any of our listeners, just thank you and your staff for all the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that you guys have put into our facilities and our Parks and Rec, and just enhancing all this for our community and for our town. This year, 2024 alone, has already made our town better because of everything that you guys have added to our town. And so I really do appreciate you, and I really do look forward to continuing to do this podcast at the end of every year. I was super excited. I remember we did this last year, and I told her, I told Amy, I was like, all right, we got to do this again because, this is just so fun to just be able to pick your brain and be able to kind of do a trip down memory lane, right? But that said, Amy, do you have anything else you want to share for the sake of the conversation?
No, I'd give all the credit to my staff. They're an amazing team. anything I throw at them, they do it, and they do it amazingly.
Yeah, they do. And the staff is incredible. I'm in y'all's pickleball leagues, and they ran so nicely, and it's so much fun to get able to be incorporated with the community, but also seeing your staff work and their level. And I'm highly impressed by the professionalism and the skill set that your staff members have, whether it's the grounds crew, folks putting up the lights, or the folks running some of the leagues that you guys have. So there's so many different rules. And that said, if you are looking to join the most awesome team at Parks and feel free to keep an eye out in our jobs. We are always looking for.
I thought you were going to recruit him to be on your pickleball team.
No. No. I think it's randomized. But if you are a good pickleball player, please, send me an email. And but if you guys are looking to join the most awesome team when it comes to your job, I know you guys I think you guys do have a couple openings right now. We do. And so check it out. You would be working under the most awesome leader I have ever met. And so check it out. I totally encourage it. But Amy, thank you so much for joining today. And until next time, and like we said, everything we talked about, links and all that will be in the bio. Until next time, Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.